My name is Coleman Bailey. I am a science teacher at D.H. Connolly High School. I enjoy being a teacher because I like making the connections to make them understand what they're doing now helps them to achieve what they want to do later.
My name is Tim Peaden. I am a deputy sheriff with the Pitt County Sheriff's Office. I really do enjoy protecting and serving the public, being able to actually help some kids get their life back on track.
I have MS.
And I have MS.
The very first thing I noticed was I was out running with my cross-country team like I used to a lot. And it wasn't because I wasn't in shape. I just started getting extremely fatigued after I was exercise. And that was kind of the onset of the disease for me. My first reaction when I got diagnosed was, and it's taken me several years to get over that, was to become a workaholic. I was convinced that I was not going to let this disease become the best of me. So I started putting every bit of energy I had into my job and to the students at the school, just because I wanted to beat the odds. I wanted to prove that this disease was not slowing me down at all.
Started having symptoms last year, riding around my patrol cruiser, and going through many doctors and a lot of different opinions. I finally had to go out of work in May 26, and I stayed out 6 months. In the first month I was out, I finally got diagnosed with MS. It affected my family. When I first found out I had MS, I really thought my career was ended. I really thought that, you know, my family life was really going to be shattered, but since then I've learned to change things.
You have to learn how to manage your symptoms. There are times of the day that I'm stronger than others, and what I mean by stronger, I love writing my notes on the board. However, as fatigue occurs, sometimes as the day goes on, it is harder for me, and so I actually figured out a way to modify my teaching so I can still give my kids the exciting instruction I want them to have without feeling like the disease is affecting me there. In addition to being fatigued, a lot of times I get what's called caping, which is as my day goes on, I basically lose sensation on the back half of my body. And I have to physically concentrate on where I put my feet to make sure I don't catch my toe when I'm walking.
I know my limitations. Probably fatigue is one of the biggest things I go through. I'm back to work, I'm assigned as an office deputy, I take walk-in complaints, but I know my limitations. Probably one of the hardest things for me to deal with was actually being out 6 months and being used to getting up every morning, fighting crime, and then it's gone.
There are a lot of treatments going on with MS right now. 10 years ago, I got put on what was thought of a new medication or experimental medication, and that has been very successful with me. And so the lesions that are on my MRIs and have all but stopped. And I honestly feel if it was not for the medication that I'm on, they would continue their growth. I guess in the last couple of years, I've even started noticing when things are kind of going in a certain direction, and so I can kind of start to adjust my schedule to either try to prevent a flare-up from occurring, or so my life can continue if I have to go get myself taken care of.
There's some new drugs on the market. There's a new oral drug on the market now, but my drug that I've been on for 7 months, I can tell that it's helping me. It's slowing down my relapses. I've only had one in the last 6 months, but there's a lot of drugs on the market, a lot of research being done trying to improve MS research now. Under stress, I just know my limitations as far as what I can do. And I try to modify my eating habits and my health for that. Probably one of the first things that I turned to was the National MS Society, because they had a lot of literature and publications. And being involved with the MS Society, I got involved with the MS Walk. I'm an ambassador for the National MS Society, and I do talks on the positive side of MS. On the MS Walk, we're trying to bring awareness to get more teams involved to walk. Where I work at the Sheriff's Department, we have a team called Team Blue Line, which is anybody in law enforcement can walk on our team, or even in the public.
I have a group of students who formed a team called Mr. Bailey's Buddies, and they participate in the MS Walk. Last year, I think it was about 50 Conley students went and walked in it on my behalf. I think the thing that gives me the strength to continue on in my job is the product of what I'm doing. When I see young men and young women want to be an active part of their community, such as participate in the MS Walk, it gives me the strength to keep going day and day that I do.
Having MS, it makes you feel good when you see other people support you. And speaking for a lot of other people, you know, when the community comes out and joins together, corporations to support MS victims and their families as a whole, it makes you feel good as a person, not only just a person that has MS, but your families.
Another reward I have in teaching, I used to question a lot. I used to question a lot about why I had this disease. And last couple of years, when I teach students whose parents are recently diagnosed with MS, and the last couple of years has finally given me a why I might have particularly had to deal with this, which is something for the first 4 years that I was battling this disease, all I could think of was how my life was going to change, how my wife and I were not going to have the future that we thought. She was several months pregnant with my daughter, our second child, when I got diagnosed, and it just seemed like nothing was falling in place. And now I can honestly look back on it, and having been able to reassure students that when your parents get diagnosed with MS, that it is going to be okay, that there is medication in place. We know so much more about the disease than we used to, and that and I like being there for them for that.
To me, I wake up every day and my slogan I say in my head is, I have MS, the MS doesn't have me. When you have MS, your life's not over. There is a positive side of it. You can be a positive encouragement to someone else. You lose some things and you gain other. I got more perspective on life in general. The time you have with your family, the quality of life that you have. Could be time well spent.